Two old guys in their records, one old guy for now, while Sydney's lockdown restrictions continue, and they are continuing. Mike and I have decided to press on, providing you with some fun segments about our favourite records and our passion for them too. This week we're looking at our favourite debut single, but before we start, don't forget to like us on our Facebook page. Spread the love of these episodes to your friends. Let's create this cult of records on Two Old Guys and Their Records. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also keep those comments coming through because we love hearing from you. As I said, we're looking at debut singles, and today's episode we're looking at one of my favourite Australian artists. This fellow is very, very gifted, an accomplished musician. He has, one of the biggest debut albums ever as an Australian artist, and he had a huge career with lots of singles, like about 25 singles and how many albums. I'm talking about The Flowers with Can't Help Myself. And I must say, I fell in love with this band immediately. Catchy song, and the songs that came after were even catchier. So I've stayed with them for over 30 years or 35 years as a huge fan. But before we get into the song, let's have a look a little bit about The Flowers. Now, The Flowers were formed by Ivor Davies, like I said, an accomplished musician, with a guy called Keith Welch. Now, Keith Welch, how they met was Keith's mum used to manage a squash court, and Ivor Davies used to clean it part-time. So that's how they met. They had this love for music, and that's the formation of The Flowers. Lots of lineup changes. Now, they were very, very popular in the pub circuit. Now, don't forget, in the late 70s, early 80s, Australia's pub circuit was massive. Before the poker machines took over, there was a position for a band to play in practically every pub. So it was a thriving scene. You had bands like The Angels, Midnight Oil, The Radiators, and all those bands. And Icehouse was like that. But Icehouse was a little bit different because they were playing a lot of David Bowie covers, Lou Reed covers, a bit of synthesizer there, so they had a different sound. But nonetheless, this is where they came through. And they got a contract with Regular Records, a very independent label, which was distributed through a festival, and they came up with this song, Can't Help Myself. And I couldn't help myself, and I had to buy it. Like I said, it's pure pop rock. It is very well structured. The musicianship's good. His vocals, I think, are very, very mature for his age. So it comes across really good. And like I said, the production is very, very slick. And this was a top 10 hit. And on that wave, did we follow them through? Of course we did, because they came up with the album, The Flowers, called Icehouse. Now, what an album, because that reaches top 5 and it stayed in the Australian charts forever. I remember, it was like weeks and weeks. We're talking about tens and tens and tens of weeks, and they were still there. Now, at the Countdown/TV Week Awards, The Flowers get the award for Best New Act, and guess who they beat on that list? In Excess. So there you have the pedigree there. And he misses it. Ivor Davies misses out as best songwriter to Don Walker of Cold Chisel. And what can you say about Don Walker? A fantastic songwriter. But this is where, the band does very, very well. Top debut album, lots of singles, because after Can't Help Myself, there is We Can Get Together. There is the song called Walls. So you got this string of singles, and, there is a demand for them to go overseas. Now, this is where it gets a little bit tricky, because there's already another band called The Flowers somewhere. So rather than having these problems, they have to change their name, and they change the name after, the album name here, Icehouse. So they become, from Flowers, they become Icehouse. And Icehouse was written about some place where Ivor Davies was renting. It was You know, across the road there was this, you know, this old mansion, and people used to come in and out, in and out, in and out, and you thought it was such a cold place. Later on, he finds out that it was a halfway house for, you know, drug users and also people with, you know, who are mentally impaired. So yes, Icehouse, they become Icehouse, and they have a huge career. Like I said, after that, you know, Primitive Man, you know, we followed them. There was Hey Little Girl, there was Great Southern Land. You know, we followed him all the way through to, you know, Baby You're So Strange, when he became glam and he grew his hair, Ivor Davies. Now, Ivor Davies, like I said, very gifted. He sort of then had session players for his live acts. So he'd bring in people because he could do everything. He played practically every instrument in the studio. He, you know, he perfected the drum machine. So he recorded practically albums on his own, and then just hired session players to tour with him. Okay, so very gifted. Now, were you into the Flowers, or did you come on board when they were Icehouse? Did you remember the single Can't Help Myself? Tell us all about it. Send in your comments. Like us on our Facebook page. Subscribe to our channel. Share the love of our records. But like I said, the Flowers, who became Icehouse. See you tomorrow with our last segment on great debut singles.